Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the stream. Welcome, Hunter, Corbin, Matt, Terry, B, Vicky, Sean. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream. Let us know what stocks you're watching. We are set to have a very interesting trading day, to say the least. We have AMC popping up in pre-market. There's a ton of hype around this stock. The market just opened. AMC right now is already up about 8% today. It's sitting right above that $17.50 level. Has a huge resistance around $18.20. Tom, what are you thinking with this? I know there's a lot of hype around this right now. And last time we saw this type of hype, AMC and GameStop just exploded.
Yeah, we're seeing it really start to sell off here at open, so we'll have to see what happens. But I would say that there could be a pretty good intraday support here at like 1730. I think it looks pretty decent for an intraday play, maybe back to the upside if it can start to bounce. But I will say it has a lot of negative momentum so far at open, so be very careful with it. Sometimes it has negative momentum and comes back up, but man, it's up. It's up quite a bit the past few days. I would not be surprised if we saw just a little bit of downwards movement here, and then maybe it would go back up later. But looks like we're hitting right off of that resistance. I said 1730 right now, so we'll have to see if that level can hold up or not.
All right, so we have Palantir with a huge green candle right at open. I know that they had a pretty volatile open, but it's a pretty strong candle right now. And Zoom is having a day so far. They're popping up. Awesome open so far. I love Zoom. Square popping up pretty nice. Nvidia popping up pretty nice. Yeah, Nvidia looks pretty decent. And let's check in on the SPY overall. They're up very slightly on the day, about 0.16%. It looks kind of neutral right now. Like they had a decent sell-off right before open, but like they're kind of holding their ground. So it looks kind of neutral. And let's get into these questions. So we have, let's see, with the first question, we have Terry saying, good morning. Today I'm eyeing KOSS, WB, and NTRA. So good stuff. Let me run through those real quick. KOSS looks pretty decent. They're definitely popping up. WB looks pretty decent. NTRA looks not bad. What do you think? Do you have any thoughts on any of these, Tom, or anything?
Yeah, NTRA is actually pretty interesting. I like how it's popping up above 91, or at least hitting that this morning. Looks pretty good, especially on the daily. It looks like it's bouncing off some of those supports. KOSS has always been a pretty interesting one, but it's just, I think that one's going to be a little bit more riskier than the other ones. But man, it looks like it's really starting to run. And whenever this one runs, it likes to really go. And it's on like the second green day right now. And it looks like it has a lot of potential, honestly. I mean, it looks like in the past, normally it doesn't have two green days in a row, so that would worry me here a little bit. You can see normally it doesn't really like to have a good continuation, so we'll have to just see like how this one moves. But man, it looks like it wants to break out and like it wants to move, and it looks like a pretty decent setup here if it can keep going.
Tom, you gotta check out AMC. This thing is exploding. So I just said it was up like 7%. Now it's up almost 10%. It's getting very close to its high of day. IV is exploding. The stock is exploding. Some of these weekly calls are up, 50% from yesterday. But like if we look at like the 15, or actually these aren't even the weekly. Sorry, some of these weekly calls were up 100% from yesterday. And if we look at these like 15 strike calls on, let's see, the other day these things are worth 28 cents. Now they're worth $3.40. So crazy explosion to the upside. And if we get back into the comments, we have Vicky saying good morning. Boeing, Roku, and Square. So these are some pretty good ones. Square is definitely in an awesome setup. Boeing's doing pretty well too. It's holding its ground right around like the 241 area. And then Roku, I haven't looked at this one in a little bit. So it looks like it's like pulling back just a little bit at open, but their daily chart still looks pretty good.
Yeah, the intradays is just what worries me a little bit. Looks like it is falling down very slightly. We'll have to see how that can move today. But man, I would think that Square could keep going up here. It is kind of tanking off today, but I think there's a good support here around 215 if it can hold that. I think it looks pretty good. And man, Square's really been popping back up and recovering nicely on the daily chart, and hopefully it can keep going. I see a pretty good resistance up here around $240. So hopefully it can hit that target.
All right, and then with the next comment, we have Sean saying, Good morning, stocked up. Might double up my account this week with the AMC hysteria. So yeah, it's definitely popping up. Corbin saying good morning. I'm watching Boeing, DraftKings, and GLD. All awesome setups. Justin, good morning. We have HAL saying SBSW. Let's check it out. SBSW. It's not bad. It has support like right around like 17, like I don't know, like 1750. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I agree. I think that support at 1750 looks very good, especially on the daily. It honestly, it's scaring me a little bit because a lot of these stocks have been popping up the past week, and this one's been kind of going down, and it looks like it's like right around that support, if not slightly have broken it over the past couple of days. So we'll have to see how that one can move. But honestly, like if it can bounce off the support and start going up, it'll be an awesome dip buy. But if it breaks that support, I think it would be a pretty good time to get some puts on it. But I've never heard of this company, but on the daily, it looks like it has pretty solid stair steps to the upside. And my main concern is this double top here around 2068. It looks like it has a lot of pressure there. And honestly, with it going down while a lot of these growth stocks were going up the past week, it has me a little worried too.
All right, and then we have T saying thoughts on Apple right now. So we have the SPY. I mean, it is selling off a little bit, and then Apple, it's not necessarily selling off, but it's definitely not popping up. It's just kind of like consolidating. It's literally unchanged today. It's up 0.001%. So it's not moving at all. But with the SPY coming down, like if the SPY continues to fall the way it is, Apple most likely will also fall. So I'm neutral on it right now, just with everything going on in the market. I'm definitely going to stay neutral on it. Then we have Justin saying, shouldn't have sold my AMC call. Oh well, live and learn. Hoping Apple takes off for me. That's one stock that works for me more than most. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of other people can say the same thing with AMC, and hopefully this market turns around for you so Apple pops up. The biggest thing is to make sure you have like a good quality option, because there's so many times where I see people like, they'll make great predictions. They'll do a great analysis of a stock, but then they'll get like a weekly call option that is so far out of the money. And even if they're right on like the direction, they just lose money due to like time decay. So that's a big thing. Then we have Bravo saying, hey guys, what do you think if someone goes all in GLD? Well, I would never go all in anything, but if that was the case, I don't think now's like necessarily a horrible time. Like in the short term, it looks a little bit overextended, but like on a max weekly chart, I think GLD looks pretty decent, but I definitely wouldn't go all in.
Yeah, my main concern for me with GLD is it is kind of approaching a resistance around like 180, and I think that that might be a pretty big level for it. As even slash GC is coming up to a resistance. I'll give you the level on slash GC, but yeah, theirs is right around 1960. So definitely be a little careful with GLD. Like Mike said, it's slightly overextended. It's pretty much went straight up since double bottoming here at like 1677. So it really has like a lot of movement to possibly consolidate or go down. But I do like it overall. I think GLD is a pretty good play. I definitely would not go all in on it though, like Mike said. I mean, man, if you want to go all in on gold, maybe buy some like physical gold or something like that. But man, especially with it being up this much, I wouldn't get it. If you were talking about maybe like 157 or 158, maybe that would be a better time to get a little more, not go all in. But right now, it just seems a little bit overextended. And honestly, I would be looking at it for possibly for some puts maybe over the next couple days or couple weeks if it can bounce off of this resistance, I would say.
All right, and then we have Roberto saying, good morning, guys. Still watching CVS. So let's check it out. They have a pretty big resistance right at like 90 on CVS. Support right around 88. I don't think it's bad. I think it's good how it's pulling back right now. It went from like 74 all the way up to $90, almost $91 in like a month. So I think it's good that it's finally pulling back a little bit. If anything, I'm going to be like slightly bearish on this one.
Yeah, I think so too. It honestly looks like it's hitting that resistance and coming down. So it honestly looks like a pretty good opportunity to grab some puts, maybe.
Yeah, it's not bad. Then we have Hunter saying GameStop doing better than AMC. So let's check it out. GameStop.
GME.
Yeah, GameStop. It's up around 11.5%. And then we have AMC up around 8%. So looks like they're having a little selling pressure come in, but they're still holding their ground.
Yeah, man. I mean, these are awesome. Whenever I go look at like the 1 year daily, this just looks amazing for AMC and GameStop, honestly. Like they're starting to really break out and they have pretty good plays. Like GameStop actually held this trend line pretty well and held support, before going back up. So it wasn't like a terrible technical play. It might be a bad fundamental play, of course, but on a technical standpoint, it definitely wasn't the worst by any means. And AMC had a pretty good wedge that it finally broke out of. And honestly, if you were bullish on this wedge and if you would have bought as soon as it broke out, you would be sitting pretty well right now on AMC, of course. But man, I really like the movement. It's getting up to some of these upper levels. Let me go to the 180-day 4 hour. And it looks like we do have a resistance that we kind of hit right around 1820, I'd say. You could say like 1850, like where it hit this morning, but in the past it hit anywhere from like 18 all the way up to 1830 and then fell right there. And then above these levels, it looks like it's just free flying all the way up to 20 and then up to 22. So it looks like there's a lot of potential out of AMC. I've really liked it off of some of these technicals, and man, it's just one of those stocks that whenever people get in, they love it. And it does have like higher lows this morning as well. So maybe you can start to recover back and start to really fly, because man, yesterday was awesome and it just kept exploding all day long. And if we saw another continuation of just movement happening all day, especially at the end of the day, like what happened with AMC, it would be really amazing today.
Alrighty, and then we have Shelby saying thoughts on CCIV. So this one, it had a great run up out of nowhere yesterday, and it's pulling back a little bit today. It tried to run up at open, but got rejected pretty hard. I like this one where it's at right now. I think over the next couple weeks and the next couple months, we will see a test of around like $25 or so. It is a pretty volatile stock, which is good and bad. I think we'll definitely see it pop back up. I also noticed a good amount of unusual options activity lately with this one to the upside. I saw a lot of some large institution exercise a ton of call options. So I like it. It's not my favorite play. Zoom and DraftKings to the upside are probably my favorite plays right now. They're both popping up. Zoom is having a great day so far. But yeah, those are my favorite.
Yeah, Zoom, I think, is my favorite too. Out of those ones, I mean, DraftKings is awesome as well. Honestly, I think maybe DraftKings. It's just DraftKings, I think, is going to be a little bit more volatile than Zoom will be. I think Zoom will be a little bit safer of a company to grab for the longer term. And honestly, off support, it's still at an amazing level. This is still like really far from highs at 588. I mean, honestly, you're getting these at such a big discount. It's honestly really enticing. Like if you really if you've done this for a long time and you see how the market has these transitions where people they go in and out of growth stocks, and they'll go into growth stocks, into value stocks, and they'll rotate in and out. And it seems like we're just at the other end of that rotation now, where these growth stocks are starting to go up, and it's just creating a ton of good opportunities.
Well, it's about time. These poor growth stocks have been getting hammered for months now. Look at Palantir, DraftKings, Zoom. Look at the ARK ETF. I mean, it's just been like nonstop selling pressure since January, and it's about time that we finally start to see these buyers come in. I mean, I think DraftKings is at a great level for the long term, and I'm just glad it looks like we're starting to see the transition back into these growth stocks. And then we have Hunter saying, Pins is not doing hot today. Let's check it out. PINS. Yeah, down around 4%. Not looking good. We have IV rising. Trying to see if there's any major catalysts with this. I'm not seeing anything major right now. It just looks like a pretty bad pullback.
Yeah, and it looks like it's hitting a pretty solid resistance. If I would post a line here, let me go ahead and get this drawing up. But man, it looks like it's hitting off of a pretty good resistance here. I'm just getting it drawn out, but yeah, you can see how it hit like right off of this bottom level here and then ended up going back to the downside, which was very unfortunate for it, but it could still break this level over the next couple of days. Just give it a couple of days to consolidate, especially at these resistances. And as we see these growth stocks and stuff start to really recover back up, kind of like we see with Pinterest bouncing off support and coming back to the upside, as they approach those highs again, or as they start to go up, they're going to be running into a lot of overhead resistance. So just be wary, because this is probably going to happen a few times with a lot of stocks. And it's just going to be one of those situations where it's just hitting a little bit of a resistance and it might break it over the next few days. It's just one of those things, though, where you just have to be careful, because it might not just go straight back up, and it obviously won't recover straight back up, like I said. So just be very wary, because a lot of people, like, they might just jump into calls or something like that and hold them all the way to expiration. But you might want to get a little extra time just in case those resistances cause some consolidation for a couple of days.
Alrighty, and then we have, let's see, we have B saying, how do you guys feel about Twitter to the upside for the short term? So this one is a gap fill setup. I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but it has a gap fill opportunity from the level at $57.63, which it's breaking above right now. So that's great. It's breaking above resistance. And then it has opportunity all the way up to $59.28. That is the lowest part of the gap. But if it breaks above that, it could go all the way up to like 60 or more. Just one thing, you want to make sure this is like not like a fake out breakout, as they call it. To me, like, I kind of have that feeling that it is, but I can definitely be wrong. Overall, I like it. It's not my favorite setup. My favorite setup is probably Zoom and DraftKings, but we picked them up a couple weeks ago, actually. So I like it, but yeah, I like Zoom better.
Yeah, and this one looks almost like it would be too good to be true. I mean, if this one kept going up right now and it just exploded up to 65, I mean, obviously I'd love that, but it's just one of those situations where that it seems like, we've been seeing all these stocks fill their gaps. And if this one just happened to fill it over the next 2 days, I think that would be pretty crazy of a move, honestly. A 10-point move out of Twitter is pretty large, but it is kind of due to recover back up. But man, it's just, there's been a lot of upwards momentum over the past like 10 trading days. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of consolidation before it ended up filling that gap.
All right, and then we have, let's see. We have Matt saying Ford is breaking out. He's sitting on the 15 strike 2023 leap. So, yeah, it's awesome to see it's breaking out. I know that they're doing a lot to adapt to the EV market. Then we have Christopher saying, what do you think of ZS to come back down? Let's check it out. ZS, it looks not bad. Honestly, I don't know. It's a really risky play. Normally, like when we see gap ups like this with ZS throughout history, normally it continues up. And I'll give a couple examples. Like one would be on May 29th of last year. We also have another example on December 3rd of last year. And let me look back even further throughout history. Yeah, it looks like when we have these gap ups, normally it continues up. Even again on, what is that? Even again on March 1st of 2019. So given that, I wouldn't be bearish on it. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just, when I see a history of it gapping up and continuing up, it's not my favorite short setup.
Yeah, and it was an earnings play too. So just keep that in mind. Like if it had really good earnings, it could just continue running also. So just keep that in mind, that with good earnings, sometimes you just see those types of continuations. But man, I just wanted to talk about the SPY really quick, because man, it's starting to really sell off again intraday, kind of like we saw yesterday. And pretty unfortunate for the market, man. SPY's coming down. We're seeing a lot of these other stocks actually doing pretty well today. I know Apple was down initially, but they're kind of recovering back up. But overall, the SPY is just tanking off, and it's a pretty unfortunate thing to see. We'll have to see if SPY can hold this 418 support or not today.
For sure. And then while the SPY's tanking off, Palantir's rocketing up. So that's I mean, it's good to see in my opinion. But
Yeah, I guess it's because those those value stocks, I guess, are getting sold off while the growth stocks are getting bought up. But
yeah,
I guess that just, obviously some of these are in the S&P 500, but I'd be curious to see how much of these growth stocks are a part of it.
right, for sure. And then let's see, we have Billy saying, hey guys, thoughts on travel stocks in the coming week or two. So I really like airlines and cruise lines right now, like AAL, CCL. LUV is a more safe airline, and I like them, but not necessarily for next week. Like, I like them over the course of a couple weeks, maybe like 4 weeks or more. It's more of like a medium term trade for me. I've been seeing a lot of bullish activity with airlines and cruise lines, but not necessarily for next week though. So they need a little bit of time to play out. So I definitely like them. Just give them some time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is going to have to do with like COVID restrictions and how we open up the economy and stuff this summer, and also how much people are going to travel this year. Summer's just now starting up, and I think if we start to see a lot more traveling, obviously, then it might help the airlines. But if not, then it might hurt them. But like Mike said, it's going to take a couple of weeks to a couple of months for that information to even come out. And then just keep in mind that information will probably be what drives those buyers in. So it's probably going to take, like he said, a long time. So definitely get some time, or honestly just get shares, because if we even look at like the max daily chart here on some of these airlines, like AAL, for example, I know this isn't the safest one. I'll go look at Southwest, but AAL still has quite a bit of ways to recover back up. And if we go look at Southwest, yeah, they've recovered up quite a bit, but they could still keep ripping up maybe to all-time highs of like $66 or $67, which could be a pretty good move.
Sounds great. And then we have Roberto saying, check out CVS again. So I know he's holding puts, but Tom, check this one out intraday. It is tanking off of news that Amazon is weighing a push into physical pharmacies to grab a bigger slice of the $370 billion prescription market. So it is tanking off intraday. That's awesome to hear for you, Roberto. I know you have some puts. So awesome job. It's down around 2.5%. And I would say it's definitely some pretty interesting news. Like, Amazon is obviously a powerhouse, but every day I look in the news, like, there's just more like news or updates about them acquiring some company or doing this or doing that. Like on the front page of CNBC today, it talks about how Amazon bought that MGM Studios for however many billions of dollars, and they're really competing with even like Netflix and Disney now and Roku, and now they're also at the same time competing with CVS. So they're just a powerhouse, and it just goes to show you like how much like they're adapting, and they just have their hands in everything.
Yeah, that's really insane to hear, actually. I mean, who would have ever thought that they'd be getting into the pharmacy world? But I guess it makes sense with how much they can just bring packages to people's doorsteps. That would honestly be pretty good. People wouldn't even have to leave home anymore. You could just have your prescription brought straight to your door. So it sounds pretty good, honestly. But man, yeah, it's killing CVS. Roberto, who did you talk to, man? How did you know to get these puts before this came out? Like,
Yeah.
were you talking to Bezos? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, you must have some insider connections or something.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy though. That's an awesome trade, man.
Yeah, awesome job. And then we have Matt. Oh, okay. So Matt said not the 15 strike, 15 leap contracts at the $12 strike for the 2023 calls. Okay, gotcha. So he's talking about Ford. Well, that's good though. If you have the 12 strike, they're in the money by like $1.35. So that's awesome stuff. And then we have Jorge saying Crowd and DDOG cybersecurity highs today. So let's check it out. DDOG, yeah, they're popping up very well, up around 4% today. They've been running a lot lately. Wow.
Yeah, man. Datadog. I mean, this is just in a great sector, hit off of these awesome supports. I cannot believe how much this one recovered. I mean, we've seen a few stocks like Enphase, for example, really start to rip up on its recovery. But DDOG has it's even outperformed Enphase here, coming all the way up. Watch for some resistance coming up, though, around like $96 to $100, somewhere between there. But man, it looks like a pretty good play. And honestly, Datadog is just one of those awesome stocks that it's in one of those sectors that has just been killing it over the past few years. So I'm not surprised at all that it went up like this. There's probably a lot of people buying the dip on this one.
All right, and then what about CrowdStrike, CRWD? They have earnings pretty soon, and they're also really running. They have resistance right around that like 225 level. You can say like 228. I guess the highs are like right around 228. So they're definitely running up, but they're coming close to a resistance.
Yeah, they are. If it's getting close, I wonder if it'll break it. I mean, it might. It's hit off of it a lot in the past, so maybe it'll break it and go back to the upside, but we'll just have to see it. Like I said, I love their sector, and it seems like all these stocks in there are just recovering up so much that it seems like they're outperforming, the overall market. So just be a little wary that they might like come back very slightly.
All right, so then we have Milky asking about AMC and Doge. So Let's check it out. AMC, it's coming back up a little bit, which is good to see. It's holding its ground. I kind of expected, a good amount of selling pressure this morning, just given the fact that it basically gapped up, 7 or 8%. So I think it's awesome to see how it's holding its ground. IV is exploding. Like, look at the IV on the bottom of your chart, Tom. Yesterday,
Wow.
it was what? It was 168%, and right now it's 203%. Like, that's crazy, and it just goes to show you how many people are buying up options on this thing. So that is crazy. So yeah, I mean, what are you thinking, Tom? Like, what levels do we have next? I would expect if we break this high of day right around 1845, that would be a good sign.
Yeah, I think that would be the best thing to watch for. It looks like it's trying to pop up right now. It has some momentum and it keeps posting higher lows, which is awesome. And it's holding like this 1750-ish level here. But there is some resistance here up around 1815. I think if we can start to really go up here above like 1845, like you said, it's going to be an amazing day trade today. At the same time, it could go down. If it goes down and falls below 1720 or 17, I think it could be a pretty good play for puts, but it's just going to depend on the movement. But I would definitely look at it to go up with the hype coming in. This IV, like you said, is going crazy, and the stock has almost been flat today. So that's even crazier to see. Maybe it's just calculating the pre-market movement, but man, that's awesome. Looks like it's popping right now, and it's trying to really break out. Look at it on the 1 minute, Mike. It's just
Yeah.
now popping up. It might break 1845 and possibly move into 1850 territory. I wonder how high it could start to go, possibly like $20.
This is crazy. So, yeah, a lot of craziness going on. And they were also asking about Doge, Tom. So, we got to check out Doge. Let's pull it up on TradingView. I can see it's selling off selling off a little bit right now. It doesn't look horrible, but it doesn't look the best. It has support right around like 30 cents and then a little bit of resistance right around 35 cents.
Yeah, I like it right on 30 cents where you said that looks like a pretty good level. Man, it's unfortunate to see these cryptocurrencies going down. I don't know what to think about them. I definitely want to see the movement over the next couple of days to see what goes on. But man, it's definitely not good thoughts in my head right now. I have a bad feeling. It looks pretty bearish. Hopefully it can hold these longer term supports here and start to go back up, because it's going to be unfortunate if this thing comes back down to like 20 or 15 cents or something like that.
For sure. And then we have, let's see, we have Kate saying big day with the rocket emojis. AMC is breaking its high of day, Tom, running up right now, has a ton of momentum. IV is exploding. GameStop they're not breaking out, but they are up a lot. But AMC is really exploding. Tons of hype into this one.
Yeah, this is awesome. Coming all the way up to 1882, almost to $19 today. Oh man, I mean, let me know in the comments, what are you guys targeting today? $20, $22, all-time highs, $25. Who knows where it could go? I mean, this is insane. I mean, I'm definitely going to be looking for somewhere maybe like $20. Well, let's go look at the 180-day 4-hour again. Yeah, definitely somewhere around $20, I think, might be the upper resistance today. If not, I mean, man, we were almost like free range up to like 2264. We don't really have any key levels to watch until that. So it's definitely gonna be an interesting day as we continue to see AMC move on. And it is up quite a bit, guys. So keep in mind it could always come back down, but this hype is insane. I would kind of expect it to keep going, and definitely watch for $20.
Yeah, this is crazy. Then we have Click saying Nvidia is falling. Let's check out Nvidia. I know that they were having a great week off of like split news from last week too. So yeah, they're definitely pulling back a little bit. How's the SPY doing? Let's check in on that. SPY is down slightly. Looks like it's right at support. And what else? Yeah, I mean, everything, like, on all of my momentum scanners, I'm just seeing AMC everywhere. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sucks. The SPY's down, the QQQ's down, but the big ones are up. AMC and GameStop are flying, and man, that's just awesome to see. I love to see it. I don't really love to see the SPY down, but I like to see AMC and GameStop moving the way it is. And it's just going to be one of those fun next couple days, as these stocks really start to rip, and we might start seeing the short squeeze come again. So that's going to be very interesting. I'm definitely going to be looking out for some articles and stuff like that. Guys who are on Robinhood, be very careful, because who knows, this volume might might crash Robinhood or something like that again, or even TD Ameritrade. I mean, we've seen it happen before, so don't be surprised if some weird stuff goes on with your broker. So just keep that in mind too, because it's definitely something to be a little wary of, because it's definitely been, I don't know about you, Mike, but it's been very annoying in the past for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It sucks when these brokers go down for no reason, like out of nowhere. So definitely definitely be on the lookout for that, and let us know what stocks you're watching. Tom, I got to update something real quick. So yeah, let us know what's going on with AMC or whatever other stocks.
Yeah, the spy's looking pretty good. I mean, I like it on support. It's kind of like double testing it right now. But it looks like it's trying to break through it. I'm very worried. It looks like it might hold this 418 support and try to go back up intraday. But hopefully it can start to really move back to the downside. We're really seeing the QQQ start to fall down. If SPY doesn't hold this support, it's not looking good at all. If I go to the 90-day, 15-minute, you can really see how defined this support is. And it looks like with the lower highs it posted today that it's going to try to break that eventually. I don't know how much consolidation we're going to see along the support though before it finally does break that, but it definitely looks like it's pretty bearish and just not a good sign. And we do have inflation data coming out on Friday. I saw this on investing.com earlier in the week and we talked about it on Sunday's video, but those fears could really make the market start to fall. And also there's some political stuff going on where the Republicans are going to be counteroffering Biden's infrastructure plan. So if they start bickering there, who knows? That could send the market down too. So it just seems like there's a lot of catalysts coming up, and we're just going to have to see how it goes. And it's also unfortunate because the SPY, if we go look at it on a daily level, looks like it's actually like trying to double top here around 420. It's like failing to break above that. So it's just looking pretty bad in my opinion. And looks like we're breaking below that low of day right now.
Awesome. Give me 1 second. But with some of the questions we have, let's see. We have plug, and then we have a lot of people talking about like the AMC $100,000 price target.
Oh, who gave that target? That's insane.
Yeah.
$100,000. I remember you telling me about that yesterday, and it blew my mind. Like, who could come up with $100,000 for AMC? But man, if it happened, more power to it. I mean, I would definitely like to see it because it would definitely be history I'm watching at that time. But I think, Mike, me and you were joking and we said something like AMC would be worth more than the whole GDP of China or something like that.
Yeah, let me actually pull this up real quick because I was talking with Hunter I was talking to Hunter about this the other day. Let's see. So a $100,000 price target would give it a market cap of 45,000 billion. That's what Hunter said. So anyways, it's just a crazy, crazy market cap. But let's get right back into these questions. So yeah, plug. Let's see what plug's doing. Plug is doing very well. It's up around 4.5%. It's above that $29 level. It looks good overall. It's finally starting to pop back up. AMC's popping, and Vicky says Nvidia reports today after market closing. So that's actually a great point. I didn't even realize that they had earnings today. I know that they have that split pretty soon, but I think that's a great point. And they've had such an amazing week. Like, I would genuinely be surprised if they like break all-time highs in this earnings release. Like, I know they're still pretty close, but I don't know. They had an amazing week, and they are a powerhouse company, so who knows?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. You said you would be surprised if they broke all-time highs.
Yes, yeah, I would be surprised if they did.
Yeah, me too. I would be pretty surprised too. And lately we're seeing a lot of stocks like run up in pre-market or in after hours on earnings and then falling down. So it's just one of those crazy situations, and it's like right at all-time highs at like 650. So be very, very careful with it. I think if we break above 650 after the earnings, it might be a good for like a post-earnings run-up. But honestly, with the split going on, I would not be surprised if earnings hurt it short-term, and then the split would like help it go up as that split nears on July 20th, which is actually pretty far away.
All right. Yeah, and yeah, we're still talking about this price target of AMC to 100,000, and then we have Milky saying, "Is it real AMC to 500,000?" But then Hunter said, if it hit 100,000, that would equal $45 trillion, which is over half of the global GDP. This is crazy. So yeah, I don't know how people come up with those types of price targets. That's pretty crazy in my opinion. But then we have Corbin saying the Mara 23 strike calls for June 4th. $25.91 is my break even. What are your thoughts? So let's check it out. He said basically $26 is his break even. I like the way it's moving right now. I think it looks really good right now, like on the chart. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. The expiration is June 4th, so it expires pretty soon, but I'm glad that you're in the money. I like it.
Yeah, me too. I think it looks really good off support. I mean, $20 was just posing as a really good level for it. If we go look at like Bitcoin, of course, let me go get on Bitcoin's chart, but Doge is kind of falling off today. I wonder how Bitcoin's doing. BTC USD, it's slightly falling off as well. But man, I mean, Mara and Riot have been recovering up ever since Bitcoin hit off of like that 30 to 31,000 support. And if we go back down to those supports, Mara and Riot are probably going to get destroyed again. But just given what we're seeing and trusting supports, it might be a pretty good time to pick up shares for Mara or Riot or even like long-term leaps. But personally, I would grab shares just because of time and just movement. But it's just one of those weird situations because you would think it would be good off support, but if Bitcoin and stuff keeps going down, it's obviously going to tank this stock. And I would just think that there might be some better opportunities, or maybe not better opportunities, but safer opportunities with like BLNK, Palantir, Zoom, and some of those other ones.
Gotcha. AMC is still popping. Now it's up over 16% in the day. It's at that $19 resistance. So what a crazy day.
Yeah, man, keep going. I mean, once it passed 19, I was hoping for it to go to 20. So hopefully it can keep popping here.
Yeah, this is crazy. Then we have, let's see, Jorge saying DBX is also moving towards testing that $28 resistance. So let's check it out. You said DBX, $28 resistance. Yeah, it's definitely trending up. It's up a good amount today. It's more of like a slow moving stock compared to AMC, because Dropbox only has an implied volatility of 41%, where you go over to AMC and, it's over 208% right now. So, yeah, good stuff there. Then let's see. We have Corbin saying, why is DraftKings falling? DraftKings is up around 2% on the day. Intraday, they are tanking off a little bit. I mean, they're holding their ground overall. It's definitely very volatile intraday. Like sometimes it'll like run up, have a huge red candle, and then come right back up for no reason. So overall, it's definitely holding its ground though, and I think it looks pretty good. If we just look at the SPY in general right now, we have the SPY. They're not tanking, but they're definitely not rallying. They're just kind of like it's kind of at like a standstill right now, right at that $418 support. And Tom, I think this is a huge support level. Look over the past 5 days. We bounced off of it 2, 3, and this is the 4th time. So it's a pretty big level. And if we fall below this, it can definitely get pretty hectic.
Yeah, I think if it falls below this today, we might start to see a lot of selling pressure come out. And I think you're going to start to see in the Discord and everywhere a lot of chatter about SPY and the market coming down at a very rapid rate. And it's just one of those, man, I just can't believe it's like holding on the support as much as it has been. I would have hoped it would have moved a little bit more, kind of like yesterday. It didn't really sit there for too long. It kind of like bounced off of it and went right back up right away, but it is kind of sitting there for quite a while today. And I wonder how much longer it'll sit here, but I do kind of expect it to go to the downside. So hopefully it breaks it. But man, with the SPY, it's just hard. It's one of those hard stocks because whenever, especially like how it gapped up in pre-market and stuff like that, you have to be very careful because the market overall could just rocket right back up. So sometimes you have to just be very careful because if it starts to rocket back up, it's just one of those situations where it obviously held support. So definitely be careful because the market likes to go up. But man, I mean, it's hit off of this so many times that it just has to break it, I would think.
Indeed. And then we have Terry saying Roblox is still going strong. I didn't even look at this one today. I mean, I know it had an amazing week, but wow, breaking, what is this, all-time highs it looks like? This is exploding up. Wow, it looks great actually. Yeah, it looks
it's
great.
Still going. I mean, wow. How does this keep going like this, Mike? I mean,
Yeah.
It finally broke $90, still going up. I mean, Man, I mean, I want to go like on FinViz and look at some of their info in a little while, but it looks very interesting to say the least with Roblox. And man, it's up so much. I don't know what to think about them because it's like a video game company. Obviously, that's a pretty good sector, but I'm not sure. I obviously it could keep going with the momentum, but it's at all-time highs in uncharted territory. So definitely watch out for like $95, and then obviously watch out for $100 whenever we approach that. But if we get there, but man, it's up so much the past week. I would have to expect some type of like pullback or resistance or something like that eventually.
All right. So yeah, guys, let us know what stocks you're watching. We have Snapchat rallying up. They look pretty good. What else do we have moving? Palantir moving up. Yeah, Palantir's looking pretty decent, actually. Let's check it out. Palantir's having a pretty good day. I like their movement. They're getting really close to that $22 level. If they break above that, their high of day yesterday was $22.11. So I think it looks pretty good overall, especially if we break above $22.11. What do we have with GPS? I see that's on my scanner right now. Yeah, GPS is popping up. Fubo, how are they doing? Oh, they're doing pretty good. Yeah, I like Fubo.
Yeah, Fubo is looking pretty decent. It has an upper resistance like 22.41, but looks very bullish today. I like it on the 1 minute, especially off some of these technicals that open, like these SMAs. It just really exploded off of that and the 21.20 support. So overall, great movement. It's still going up, moving up to 22.20 as we're talking. And like I said, though, there is upper resistance around 22.41. So be a little bit careful, but it looks pretty good.
All right. And then what else do we have? Yeah, guys, let us know what stocks you're watching. Tom and I will cover them. We have Sean saying the 9 SMA on the 3-minute chart seems to be a pretty solid support for AMC. So looks like it had a pretty big pullback. But, in the grand scheme of things, it's still up, 13% on the day. But, it's a volatile stock. People are going to have to be prepared for these pullbacks. But you're right. It looks like it's definitely holding support right now. And even if you look at like the $18.60 level, it looks pretty good overall. The one thing that I want everyone to really pay attention to with like AMC setup right now is just like what happened with GameStop and AMC back in like January and January. What happened was, like, if we go back to GME, the IV went from 126% all the way up to 563%. So when IV rises that much, these options expected moves just get to a crazy level. So, at some point, if the IV keeps rising, if you are bullish on GameStop or AMC, it might be smarter to just buy shares rather than calls, just due to the expected move. But then we have Vicky saying, DraftKings, please. Tom, what are you seeing?
Yeah, let's go check it out. DKNG looking pretty good actually intraday. Very slight pullback right now. There is a little bit of resistance, obviously at $50. That was a huge level for DraftKings yesterday. Hit that and just tanked right down. So be very, very wary of $50 as we go up today. If we start to go up, but $50 is definitely going to be a good resistance. And going and looking at that daily chart, I will say, going back to the past, 50 has held up a few times, and it looks like we're going to pass above that. But just keep in mind that that's just eyeing it out here. That doesn't mean it's going to obviously rocket above $50. Definitely eye it and make it do that, I think, before grabbing any like short-term calls. If you're in longer-term calls, I would not be worried at all right now. I think it's still in a pretty good setup. And obviously $50 held as a good resistance, like I said, but it could obviously break that. And it has a lot of momentum. And honestly, I see an upper resistance more of like $55. So I'm targeting more of like 55 before it starts to really tank off.
All right. And then we have Jorge saying, not sure if you mentioned already today, but BB also woke up. So yeah, it definitely did. And we didn't even look at this one yet. So it's definitely running up. Looks like a pretty similar setup to AMC. It ran up the same time that AMC and GameStop ran up back in January, but looks sorry, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Tom, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it looks decent. I like it off support. It's just one of those other stocks. Let me go ahead and pull up the short float on it really quick. SIBB, but yeah, this is a pretty crazy stock off support. I mean, let's see the short float. It'll come up here. in 1 second. It's only 7.9%, so not as much as I would have expected it to be, but I think this stock could do pretty well. It's BlackBerry. Like if 5G starts doing good, BlackBerry might do pretty good. We'll just have to see. But overall, in the max weekly chart, BlackBerry has not done well. But since AMC and GameStop are up, I think BlackBerry just follows them too right now. It's been thrown into those hype stocks, and whenever those go up, people start to flock into the other ones, hoping that they go up as well.
All right. And then with the
Oh, I'm also sure Nokia's up. Like, let's go check out NOK really quick. And
no.
yeah, oh no, it's actually down negative
Yeah.
0.4%. Kind of surprised, but it does have a big green candle at open, which is good. But yeah, I would have kind of expected Nokia to come up with it as well.
Indeed. And then we have V saying, good morning. What do you guys think about Peloton in the short term? So what are you thinking?
I think it looks pretty good, honestly. I think it's right along resistance, but it's really extended up from this bottom support, and it's just kind of consolidating. Honestly, I would be more of neutral on it. I think it looks pretty good to the upside, but just being at these resistances worries me a little bit. And we're also right along the $100 level. We are starting to really like move up maybe above $100, which is a good sign. So over the next few days, if we see a couple green candles, it could be awesome. I think if we break out above like 105 or 106, it'll be a lot better than where we are right now. And if we break out above there, watch out for resistance, maybe around like 120 or like 110.
What do you think of NEO? They're actually breaking their high a day right now, and they're trending up pretty well.
Yeah, NIO, the good EV stocks. Let's go see it. 15-minute chart here. Coming up, yeah, very strong off the 100 SMA. I honestly really like it. 37.64 was the high of yesterday, so definitely watch out. I'm sure $37 might pose as a pretty good resistance today as well. But yeah, that 1-minute chart looks awesome. Moving just almost straight up this morning. I mean, it's went up and down a little bit, but pretty much straight up. Only like 20 cent gap ups and gap downs, I would say, on the 1-minute chart. But if we go look at the daily, looks pretty strong, bouncing off support. I would think NIO would recover up with some of these other stocks and the overall tech sector. Obviously QQQ could keep going down because there's a lot of other stocks in there besides like EV stocks. But like, let's go check out Tesla and see how they're doing. And Tesla's actually like right at even today, like, up 0%. So let's go look at the 1-minute chart. Yeah, Tesla's actually been going down a lot today. So compared to NEO, Tesla's like definitely underperforming compared to NEO. So worries me a little bit with the EV sector with Tesla going down, but intraday, it looks like it might start to recover back up. And I think like longer term off this support, Tesla might be pretty good. We'll just have to see what the overall market does, because I don't think Tesla is just going to crash and burn on its own. I think it's going to take a lot of selling pressure from the overall market too.
Awesome. And thank you so much, Shelby and Vicky, for mentioning hitting that like button. Guys, when you guys hit the like button on the stream, it helps us so much. And, it only takes a second. So Tom and I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream and asking great questions. Tom and I love doing the stream, and it really helps us out if you guys could hit that like button. And with the next comment, actually, before we get into the next comment, let's check out Palantir, Tom. I'm looking at it intraday right now, and they're trending up. They're getting really close to that high of day, and they're getting really close to like breaking 22 and then maybe even 22.11. So just keep it on your radar. It's trending up pretty well right now.
Yeah, there we go. The growth stocks still killing it, man. They've been killing it over the past week. And like you said, it's well deserved because of how much they've been going down. I mean, man, they're down so much that they still have a lot of recovery room left. And I think that these are definitely going to be the stocks to watch over the next few months as they start to go back up. There's going to be tons and tons of opportunities here, tons of day trading opportunities, as well as swing opportunities, even share opportunities. So overall, I mean, these growth stocks are just insane. Palantir, Zoom, Peloton, and others. I mean, I love the whole sector, not the whole sector, but just all the growth stocks right now. They just all look pretty good, and they all have very similar setups. But Palantir intraday looks awesome. Definitely make it break above 22, though. It looks like it's having a lot of problems getting above there.
All right, and then check out Redfin on the daily. They're doing pretty well. They're up around 4.5% on the day. They touched that $50 support, and I'm very glad that they held that. They're popping up very nicely. We have Matt saying, I don't see a like button while chats are active. So you should be able to like just like on like normal videos, like there's like the like and dislike button. That should be there. Maybe like Hunter or someone if you could double check that. But then we have Hunter saying JWN is down bad. Let's check it out. So JWN, they are down around, wow, they're down around 9% today. Wow, this is
Yeah,
crazy.
Nordstrom. This is unfortunate. Nordstrom sells books, right?
Well, no, they sell like a ton of stuff, so they're really tanking. They're definitely in like the retail market, but yeah, they're tanking down bad. Are they coming close to that like support at like 32? Is it, or what is that, Tom, on the green SMA?
Yeah, there's definitely one like right around 32 to 32.50. Yeah, right along that like 500 EMA there. I think that's going to be a pretty good level. And that's also a good support. And then if we fall below that, $30 is going to be one below that. But yeah, I think 32 might hold up this week. We'll have to see how it goes. But man, yeah, this one really tanked off. I think there was some bad earnings. Let's go check it out on the fifth. Yeah, it was some bad earnings that caused this one to drop. But just keep in mind that all these retail companies, obviously, they're not going to do as well as like the more established online companies. And yeah, sure, they might have done good with COVID because it boosted their online sales a little bit, but now they're kind of still now they're going back to competing like with Amazon and some of the bigger ones as the economy starts to reopen. So just be a little wary because Nordstrom and those might start to lose some of their some of the stock amount, I guess that you could say that they recovered.
All right, and then we have, let's see, we have Vicky asking about Fubo. Let's check it out, Tom. FUBO. We were just looking at this one. It looks pretty good, especially on the daily. They're really running up intraday, up around 6%. They have resistance right around $22.41. And I like this setup. I think it has a lot of potential, and I like how it's been holding its ground over the past month, and now it's finally starting to break out. They have a lot of volume coming in as well, so I like the setup.
Yeah, and this stock's set to do really good for the longer term. Sports streaming service is just awesome. I mean, anything in that sector like sports betting, sports streaming, and this company is trying to do both. I've heard they're trying to get into sports streaming to where like while you're watching the stream, you can like bet on the sports and stuff. So definitely might be a pretty good stock for the longer term. And I know a lot of people love it at these lower levels. And it's one of those really good companies, I think, just because it's a streaming service. Anything streaming seems to do good. Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime streaming, Hulu. There's plenty more out there. I think Roku might even have one, but it's just really, honestly, really good for the company overall and should do pretty well. And any like monthly subscription thing with that also helps. So I just think for the long run, Fubo is going to be great, especially like I said, sports streaming. That whole sector is set to just explode.
Yeah, thank you, Hunter, Vicky, and Lou for helping out Matt. Thank you guys so much for hitting that like button. Tom and I really appreciate it. And then we have Sean saying the AAL June 4th calls looking good. Hopefully we can retest highs. So hopefully they're definitely holding their ground right now. AAL is popping up. I know that it had a pretty crazy day yesterday. Like it had such an amazing open, and then it just tanked off big time during the day. But I am glad that they're holding their ground, and I think it still looks pretty good. And overall with cruise lines and airlines right now, I like it, but like you got to give them some time. Like they're not really necessarily day trades; they're more of like maybe like buy and hold for like 4 weeks or so. So good stuff there. Then we have Queen saying Roblox is nonstop. Is it still going?
Let's go see it. RBLX. Yeah, it is still going all the way up to 94.47. I mean, man, what's this going to hit? 95, $100 over the next couple days? This is insane. I mean, who would have ever thought Roblox, right? I mean, it's just one of those companies you would have not expected, at least me anyways. I wouldn't have expected a little kids game to kind of explode like this, but I guess they have good fundamentals or something. I'm definitely going to have to look into their company, look at their earnings sheet, their balances, and see what's going on. But man, it's just definitely a crazy move. And I don't know, Mike, you never played Roblox, did you?
Actually, I have like probably like what is this like? I don't even know, like over.
Yeah,
10
I mean,
years
it would have
ago?
been a long time ago for
Yeah.
sure, but this game's been out for like 13 years or something. I played this when I was like 12 years old. So
Yeah, this is yeah, I remember playing it like a long, long, long time ago, but I've heard actually great things about them. Like I've heard that they're just like really reinvesting back into their games, and I heard that a lot. I know that they're like a lot of people play Roblox, so obviously that's great. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look deeper into their fundamentals to see what's going on with their earnings and everything, because ever since they reported, they have just been exploding.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they reported like big subscriber growth outlooks or something like that. I mean, that would be my main guess. Or maybe they're like implementing like some something like in-game purchases or something like that. Who knows? But overall, just great moves out of it. And obviously, like a lot of people play it, so definitely look out. I mean, if it keeps going and breaks $95, who knows how high it could go? It might go up to $100. We have no idea, but it's definitely up $5 already today, up 5.8%. I would be a little bit careful with it. You can see overall, it doesn't have much larger green days than it's had today, besides that one day after earnings. So honestly, like with the expected move, I would not expect it to move too much more to the upside today. But that definitely doesn't mean it's not a play for over the next few days. It just means that for today, you can obviously just look at these green candles and see the expected move here, and obviously see that this is definitely one of the larger moves it has, and it usually doesn't go much bigger than this.
All right, and then we have Shelby asking about Microsoft. So Microsoft is holding its ground very well intraday, right at that level, right around $251. Held that support extremely well, so that looks great. Let me look at it for like a daily real quick on Microsoft. On a daily, it's not my favorite trade. It looks like a tiny bit overextended over like the past 5 days, but I definitely would not bet against it. What are your thoughts on Microsoft right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's done pretty well. I personally like I wouldn't want to bet against it either, but there is a resistance it's hitting right now. I think it's just going to depend on the overall market. Like we're going to have to see Microsoft, Apple, like Nvidia, AMD, SPY, we're going to have to see everything start to really fall off, I think, to get like Microsoft and Apple to really start to come down, and obviously the SPY of course too, but it's just it's definitely going to be a crazy next couple of days as we're like at these resistances, and Microsoft's been recovering up from this double bottom. So I'm not surprised to see it consolidating at all. But man, it's definitely going to be scary. We have inflation data coming out on Friday as well, and that's going to show people kind of how the inflation's going, and it's going to really show also the Fed like what they need to do. And I think that there's going to be a lot of talks on Friday about that. So definitely watch out. And then on Thursday, there's that political news that's supposed to come out. So there's honestly a lot of events that could make it go either way. Like if the events go well, market will go up. If the events go bad, the market will go down. I think that that's just I think that that's how we're going to have to play it this week.
So we have Corbin talking about Roblox and Gucci right now, and I just looked up the news. So apparently a $4,115 digital only Gucci bag sold on Roblox. So someone bought over a $4,000 digital only Gucci bag on Roblox. It's not even an NFT, and it's not a real bag. It's
Yeah, you can like wear it in the game probably.
Yeah, something like that. Wow.
Yeah, have you ever heard of Counter-Strike, Mike?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, on Counter-Strike, they did something like that too, like where you could buy like items like that. And some of them, and they made like a marketplace, almost like the stock market for it. You could even like look at charts, like we have TD Ameritrade, but like, yeah, like a backpack or a knife or a gun skin or something would be worth like 100, anywhere from like 1 cent to like, $10,000 on the rarer side. So
Wow.
man, that's pretty insane. I mean, can you believe someone would spend that much money just for like something like that inside of the game? I mean, that's insane.
Wow.
Hopefully the guy's a millionaire,
Right. Wow, this is crazy. Like I'm reading the article right now. It's definitely pretty interesting. Like, like I would have thought, if it's gonna sell for $4,000, I know NFTs are so hot right now, like, just kind of like how cryptos are. I would have expected it to at least be like an NFT.
But the good news is that at least he can wear it in the game, where like an NFT is not even really anything,
Yeah, true.
See, like, yeah, like I'd rather pay for it and wear it in the game personally.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a good point. Definitely a good point. And we have Hunter saying, who has that type of money that's playing video games? It's a good point. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is definitely
especially Roblox.
Yeah. Definitely interesting news.
Hey, what if he used his dad's credit card?
True. We have Hunter saying, I would like to marry into whatever family is doing that. Oh my gosh. And then we have, let's see, we have Shelby saying Tilray is running. Let's check it out, Tom. I know Tilray had an amazing day the other day. Wow, they're breaking all-time highs right now, getting so close at $16.46 level. Wow, this looks pretty good.
Yeah, there we go. Keep going, Tilray. I need it to keep going. Break 1650, please. Keep running. That daily looks pretty good off of these supports. Looks like some of these pot stocks could start to run over the next week. And I heard that there might be some legalization news over the next couple days or something like that. I'll have to look into it, but it's definitely going to be an interesting next couple of days. I like the momentum here, and it really recovered up nicely. Hopefully, it can keep going up above 1650, like we said.
All right, and then we have, let's see, we have Jorge saying NNDM. What's going on?
Nano Dimension. Let's go see NNDM. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Very strong today, actually, up 10%. Like we've seen with a lot of stocks, really popping up today, moving very well off these supports. Honestly, this one's just one of those growth stocks. It's just done fantastically with the rest of them, like Palantir, Zoom, and others, and it's just really running up. And man, like we've been saying over the past few weeks to few days, is some of these dip buys have been great opportunities. I think a lot of people are going to be upset that they missed out on a lot of these. You could have been number one, selling puts the whole time, making a lot of premium on these. Number two, if you get assigned shares, then you have great opportunities for the longer run, like today, where Nano Dimensions pops up 10%. We can see Palantir. Let's go check them, up 3%, and they're up like 10% over the past like 4 or 5 days. So it's just, we're seeing lots of movement out of these stocks. And it just goes to show you that, buying on supports and buying on dips are definitely like the way to go whenever these stocks are going down.
All right, and then let's see what else we have. We have Hunter saying PDD opened up and then wanted to see how fast it could go down. Let's check it out. Intraday, PDD, it is down 5%. Let's check out this intraday. Wow, this is crazy. That's pretty interesting because it reported earnings in pre-market and it started to run up in pre-market, but there must have been a huge seller at market open. I mean, this is definitely an interesting setup because it was running in pre-market.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Apple or Microsoft or even AMD a while ago. I remember we were seeing that happen with a lot of stocks, but not to this extent. I mean, this is pretty crazy, down a lot. And then, man, I mean, the earnings were pretty bad too. Like their EPS was pretty much, yeah, it was over double negative. So like, yeah, they were expected to get a negative 0.68 EPS. They ended up with a negative 1.52. So yeah, pretty bad. I don't know why they were, I can't tell you why they were rocketing up on earnings so much. They must have had a good outlook or something, but definitely with them, doubling that to the negative side is definitely not good news. And I'm, with that, I'm not surprised to see it down, but this is insane movement. I mean, who would have thought this would get this volatile? And Hunter, definitely let me know in the chat, if you know any reasons behind it, but that's definitely crazy.
All right, and then we have Kathy just logging on asking about AMC. Let's check it out. So AMC is up around 15% today. It's holding its ground, Tom. Like, I know it had a pretty decent sell-off right at the like $19 level, but it's holding its ground, which is a great sign. And Kathy, one thing that we pointed out with AMC is similar to what happened back in January with AMC, GameStop, Nokia, BlackBerry, and all of the other meme stocks. Now we're to a point where AMC stock is up over 14% on the day. And more importantly, the implied volatility went from 161% to now 208%. And that is a crazy jump to the upside. Basically, what this means is people are loading up on call options, but the prices of these call options are starting to get, I guess you can say, overvalued. Like, for example, like the expected move yesterday may have only been like, $1 up or down, but now it can be as high as like, $2.50. Yeah, exactly. $2.50 up or down. So, my biggest, I guess I would say, like, caution with this one is watch out for the quality of option that you are trading on these ones, because like this happened so much back in January people bought calls and puts on AMC and GameStop, and even if they predicted the direction correctly, they still could have lost big time just because of expected moves and time decay. But Tom, they're struggling right at this $19 level. Do you have any thoughts or support levels or anything to watch out for?
Yeah, it's crazy. They're just struggling to break above it intraday. I think if they could break above 19.14, it could be a pretty good intraday runner, especially for a very quick scalp or very quick day trade. I think it's going to take a couple of minutes for it to finally get up there. Looks like we're getting some red right now. Like I said, it even had lower highs. So definitely be careful with it. It's up so much the past few days. I personally would not be surprised at all if it came down a little bit, but it's just one of those crazy situations, definitely will have it on your radar. If it breaks above 19.14, it's going to have a pretty good opportunity intraday. So definitely be wary, be ready. I think $20 might be a pretty good resistance. So if it breaks this, maybe target $20 and just be careful because whenever it hits that resistance and comes down, wherever that is, it'll probably be pretty fast. And like Mike said, you're probably going to want to get in and out of these really fast because the IV's up so much. You almost have to treat it like an earnings play. You hear me and Mike talk a lot about how earnings plays are terrible because the stock could still go up and you still lose on calls, for example, or it'll go down and you'll still lose on puts because of that expected move. If the expected move is 5% and the stock only moves 3%, then the option isn't really going to gain any value because the IV is just going to, stay the same or kind of go down and make it lose. So that's just kind of what's going to happen. Maybe if we don't see the type of movement we want out of AMC, we might see like an IV crush or something similar to that.
All right. And then we have Queen saying, don't forget about Tesla. So you read my mind. Tesla's popping up very well. They actually went from, what is that, red to green almost. So it's popping up. They're getting very close to that resistance right around 615. Do you have any thoughts on this one, Tom?
That's an awesome resistance there. I love this. We talked about it earlier and it was kind of going down. It was underperforming compared to NIO. And now it's starting to rip up and NIO is starting to consolidate. So that's pretty good things to hear. Honestly, that 15 resistance is going to be or 515 is 615. There we go. Sorry, I was on NIO's chart, but yeah, 615 is going to pose a very good intraday resistance. If we break that though, might be pretty good. We already hit it twice over the past 2 days or right around there. So definitely watch out. We're getting really close to it right now. It might be a pretty good, quick scalp for some puts. Maybe if you see it start to go down off of this, but man, Tesla's ripping. It's only up 1%. If we go to that daily chart, it looks like it could really keep going. And if it does keep going, I could see it maybe going up to 660 or 650.
All righty. Well, Tom, do you have any sorry, I keep coughing today. I'm sorry, guys. But Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or anything you're watching for the rest of the day?
Man, I mean, I'm still watching the SPY. It's still kind of holding that support here, kind of coming back up. We're going to have to see which way this one decides to go today. If it ends up going up, then obviously look at maybe the market to recover back up to 420 or maybe higher. If it goes lower, look for it to break down below this 418 support pretty well. You could say maybe 414 or 417.75, but definitely watch out. The SPY is bouncing off of this a little bit intraday. We're going to have to see how this movement plays out, but the overall market is kind of right around those all-time highs. We might start to come down if this proves to be a good double top. It's just going to depend. We have this inflation data coming out Friday also. So GLD has been a pretty good thing to trade, but today it's been pretty flat. It's been up so much the past few days. Personally, I wouldn't trade it anymore, but with inflation talks and stuff coming out, it could easily pop up. And I have resistance around 180 on GLD, but overall, SPY and GLD are going to be the main things I'm watching, along with some of the cruise lines and airlines, which obviously have been pretty hot.
All right. So some last minute comments. We have, we have Swift saying, I think Doge is going to go up next week. This week has been slow. Then we have Hunter saying, in regards to PDD, probably just earnings reactions. Similar things happened to Amazon and Apple after they reported. And yeah, weird reaction though, definitely. And then we have Matt saying PDD revenue tripled to the upside and beat EPS. Don't see any reason it wouldn't bounce back. Just looks like profit taking. And then he also was talking about the Zip IPO today. And then we have Taylor saying that DraftKings call on Discord was good to me, Mike. Thanks. So awesome to hear that. Yeah, DraftKings definitely popped up pretty well. But thank you guys so much for joining this stream. Tom and I had a great time streaming, and thank you guys so much for asking great questions. And, I know there's a lot of craziness going on in the market right now, especially with AMC. As always, be careful. Always make sure to have predefined stop losses and profit targets. And thank you guys so much for joining.